Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about another video on a woman. Her name is Donna, who is very narcissistic, histrionic. Her behaviors are very narcissistic, histrionic, and a blend of behaviors. And she just does things. She's a grown woman, mid-50s, and she does things like very rebellious. She's just very loud and obnoxious, and she just breaks any kind of rule or law, or, well, not really law, but mandate or social rules. She's rebellious, and she just acts also like a mean girl, an adult mean girl. She really hasn't grown up much since she was in high school, where she was a mean girl there. And I don't know about you. Have you ever known anybody like that? I have. I definitely have. And anyway, I had used her as an example of a person living in Victorson County, Texas. This is all, this is a hypothetical-fictional kind of story example. But she just does everything wrong. Well, in the story I was saying, that the county, when early 2020, they decided to go on lockdown the whole county. It wasn't just the county, but there was a lot of other stuff going on around it, so they used that as an excuse. It was a real thing to go on, lockdown, only essentials. And, but they also did when they, very similar, that they move them around and everything, people, and it's a long story background. But because of Donna's behavior, she wasn't going to do any of that, and she had that attitude. She wasn't going to play that, that game. Well, her husband, he is a descendant from the original group, not the original group, the original settlers. Boy, I'll get it out in a minute. He is a descendant, and they're the only ones who can actually own property in most of Victorson County. Okay, and they can lose their inheritance. They grew up in this is their culture. They grew up knowing that if they break too many rules, they can get kicked out of the county. It's a very wealthy county. The county doesn't break any rules, but the elders are the ones that really run it when it comes down to it. And well, he got called in because Donna kept causing too much problems, and she refused. She told him that she refused to do this lockdown and all that, and the elders somehow heard about it before she was told that she was going to have to do it for her volunteer work, and that she thought that was okay. But when it was just him telling her that this was happening, she threw a hissy fit, and went around telling people, her friends, what he said. Got back to the elders, and the elders called him in. These are people in their mid-50s. Okay, could you imagine being called in by elders of the county who run it, like I said, and this is the part of their culture they grew up in, so it's nothing new. But yeah, because of your spouse, it just sounds kind of off, right? Okay, but anyway, she was trying to cause a lot of problems, Donna was, and they just couldn't have that with everything that was going on. Her getting on social media that's just for the county, and just bringing up, stating all kinds of lies and misinformation, disinformation. She was doing all this, that they had enough. Okay, they had enough of her. Okay, it was too serious what was all going on, and way too serious for her to be throwing a baby nope, she's an adult throwing a temper tantrum and just being rebellious. So they told him that she doesn't know about the whole bit about his inheritance and all that, but they flat out told him if she keeps this up, that he might lose his inheritance. And he wasn't about to let that happen because of his adult children. They wouldn't lose their inheritance, through him. And she doesn't know about all that. He has his own children. She has children from previous marriages. And he wasn't going to let that. He knew growing up in that culture not to tell her. And they had called him in, the elders back then, and said, don't tell her about these things. Okay, it made a long story. But really, can you imagine it? If it were part of your culture you grew up in, it wouldn't seem like basically infantilization. It would, when somebody treats you like a child, much younger than your age, or group does. But they grew up in it knowing that this is how it is, and they actually appreciate that these elders watch over the county. It's a very wealthy county, very safe county, for the most part, except for one little area. It's very safe, and they get a lot of benefits from living there. All kinds of good things, not just about money. It's a really good place to live. And so they understand that from birth, okay, practically. And then they know that whenever they become, say 65 and up, that they too will be in that position where they can opt in or out of being, ones who run the county. It's just how it's been for generations back, since the beginning. Okay, well anyway, when he was called in, they told him that, how they're seeing what Donna's doing. And, he was told that he was reminded he could lose his inheritance and all that. And that if she just doesn't want to do it, he has another option, which was to make her move back to her, where she grew up, and that's the bad part of the county, that one little town, the town's actually called the Outlaws, and that she would have to move back there and they could divorce. Okay, and they would grant him the divorce. And that he needed to tell her that was her option. Okay, that if she didn't stop acting as she did, he would divorce her. Okay, so. Okay, now, as you can imagine, she still rebelled. She rebels against everything. And she just thought she's all high and mighty, and she can do what she wants, and nobody can tell her not, that she can't. But in life, that might sound good in theory, but it might. In life, it's never that clear. It's never that clean. I've never known it to be. So what happens is she did something that was against the state. Okay, not just the county. When there was a mandate for people to stay at home and not go out, unless it's essential. Okay, she still did it. She went out because she felt like it. That's another story. But if you want to hear more about this, I'm going to wrap this up now. But if you want to hear more about this story, just click the circular icon that pops up and subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to give more examples using Donna and other characters. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.